Imagine, if you will, a world where the words that people speak, they aren't just words, they're clues. Each word a tiny key, unlocking the deeper structure of meaning. When someone says, "she hit me," what comes into mind? Is it an image of a physical impact or something else? Something more abstract? That's the dance of language. When you ask, how specifically did she hit you? Suddenly, the world shifts, doesn't it? It's like you're zooming in on the layers beneath the surface of that sentence. As you ask, you're not just collecting information, you're crafting a map of what's truly happening, whether physical, mentally, or metaphorically. Now take a moment and consider something intriguing. Have you ever noticed in your conversations we use words like tables, dogs, people, but never specifically who or what exactly we mean? A table could be any table, right? You may never even know if it's made of wood, metal, or something entirely different, and yet the table is serving as a reference, shaping your experience of the conversation. What happens when we ask, who or what specifically are we talking about? Suddenly, the vague becomes sharp, clear, and precise. This, my friend, is the power of non-referring noun phrases. You see, by merely pointing to something, like a table or a dog, the language, it opens up room for infinite interpretation. It's like a door with no clear handle until you ask, what kind of table are we talking about? Is it round or square, big or small? Each question brings clarity, allowing you to focus on the exact thing being referenced. Without this precision, we wander in confusion, or worse, make false assumptions. But then we reach another powerful level. Verbs. Verbs, the action words. The verbs that carry the motion and the energy of what's happening. She hit me. We think we know what happened, don't we? But do we? How specifically did she hit you? What was the nature of the hitting? When did it happen? Where did it happen? With what and why? Each of these questions takes you further into the labyrinth of the understanding. What seemed clear at first now becomes an unfolding mystery layer by layer. Let me tell you something extraordinary. It's often in the why that the magic appears. When you say, how did she hit you? And they say, she hit me with an idea. That changes the whole story. So you ask, why did she hit you with an idea? You realize suddenly the situation, it transforms. No longer are you stuck imagining a physical blow. Instead, you're noticing a shift in thinking, a change in perspective, an invitation to understand. It's fascinating, isn't it? This is the power of language. When you explore, when you question, when you change your assumptions, you can uncover something entirely different. And this is where metaphors live. She hit me with an idea. Was it truly a literal blow, or was it a figurative action that sparked a shift in your understanding? Until you asked, how would you know? Let me share a secret with you. This process of asking questions, these open-ended invitations to clarify, they're subtle shifts in focus. They're the heart of what's called the Meta Model. The Meta Model is like a compass guiding you through the murky waters of language. But here's where it gets interesting. When you start with the big questions, the ones that shift the entire map, everything else falls into place. You can break down the vagueness into something actionable, something clear. How often do you take the time to explore and to ask how specifically something happens? Think about it. Have you ever wondered how the simplest of phrases can hold so much meaning, so much potential for change? It's if each question that you ask is a tool that sharpens your perception, making you more attuned to the underlying patterns of thought. And as you begin practicing this, asking these questions, it'll no longer feel like an effort. It'll feel like playing. In fact, it becomes a skill, a technique that opens doors to deeper understanding. And the more you practice it, the more you'll start seeing these patterns in the world all around you, in the conversations you have. It becomes like a game. How deep can you go into the questions before you uncover the essence of what's really being said? It's the art of knowing how to ask questions that unlocks the treasure chest of meaning. When you ask from the top down, when you start with the biggest, most open questions, you begin to see beyond the surface of things, and you stop getting lost in the minor details, and you start uncovering the bigger picture. And this is where the real magic lies. It's in how, the specificity of the how. It turns the ordinary moments into moments of insight. Because once you see the structure that's beneath the surface, once you begin to understand how things work at a deeper level. That is when the world becomes not just clearer, but richer, more vibrant. You see, you're not just collecting information, you're unlocking patterns. You're diving into the structure of language and perception itself. You're not just hearing words, you're revealing the inner workings of the mind, the very heart of human experience. And with each question you ask, you gain more control, more mastery over how you understand and interact with the world. Every conversation becomes a treasure hunt, and every question is your tool to uncovering the hidden gems of meaning. As you explore, as you practice, you'll begin to notice the smallest details, those non-referring noun phrases, those unspecified verbs, and you realise how they shape the landscape of your communication. You'll start hearing words differently, seeing it more clearly, with a new set of eyes trained to look for the specifics that others miss. And with each question you ask, you'll feel the excitement of discovery, the thrill of seeing the invisible become visible. Imagine what it would feel like to know, every time you ask, you're peeling back a layer, finding a new way to understand, and in doing so, you'll shift not only how you understand language, but how you understand people, yourself, and the world around you. So my friend, go ahead and ask. Ask how specifically something's happening. Ask what exactly is being said. And let the world open up to you in ways you've never experienced before. Because in every question, there's a new opportunity waiting for you. An opportunity to discover, to connect, and to see the world in a whole new way.